Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the post-Snow Globe edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN in western South Dakota. All parts in between at Inforum.com. Get looks at Grand Forks and Fargo this morning as our bout of winter is not done yet. Why not? It's state wrestling season. It's back. Why wouldn't we have some inclement weather join us? It's par for the course. Welcome to the show, everybody, here on a Thursday. State tournament season has arrived. We talk about it all year long, and then here we go with the 6-week stretch of madness. Actually, it's 7 for this year because Minnesota State basketball has been pushed back a week because the University of Minnesota believes, and we'll show you why coming up here a little bit, that the Gopher women will have an opportunity to host at the NCAA basketball tournament. So now we go all the way to the end of March this year for the boys' state basketball tournament. But it begins today at the fabulous Fargo Dome for the North Dakota State Wrestling Tournament. It's our second year of broadcasting the event. We'll give you the full breakdown of how it is going to be presented on television and online in just a little bit. But individual championships coming up tomorrow, then the dual championships on Saturday. The road to an individual title starts at about an hour when the first matches get underway. The individual semis are tonight, and then we move on to the championships. They've done this a little bit differently here over the last handful of years. Post-COVID, they changed the scheduling of this, and obviously with the girls format coming in as well, which has been a huge boon to the tournament. It just it flows differently because we used to have it where we would have the dual portion go on Thursday morning. That would be the first to start, and then we do individual stuff, and then the dual tournament would have its semis in the afternoon, and then the dual championship on Friday night. Now, the dual portion is all on Saturday, which actually adds a heck of a lot of fun and intrigue to it because you have everything ramped in one day. So we'll give you the full breakdown of our coverage coming up in just a little bit. If you do not have any Olympic fever yet, there's no help I have for you, especially after yesterday. And I understand hockey may not be everybody's jam. I enjoy it. Certainly yesterday, if you were not into what happened with the Americans or the Canadians, then there's nothing I can do for you today because we've got a gold medal match today involving a player from Bismarck, North Dakota. So if that's not going to get you fired up, there's nothing I can do for the United States and the Canadians in the women's gold medal game, which is in about 3 hours' time from Italy. More on that coming up in just a little while. But let's start our program with a familiar saying. The Bison won again. North Dakota State men's basketball team is on the doorstep of a first league championship in 6 years. The Bison were in Brookings last night to face South Dakota State. They had not swept the Jackrabbits since 2017. Nearly a decade. They were trying to win in Brookings for the third straight time. Last night, Bison started well. Noah Feddersen was possessed last night. Gets the teardrop in the lane. Bison down 2. Still down 2 here. The strong take from Trayson Anderson and the flush. That tied the game at 25. The Jackrabbits, though, go on a 7-0 run. Matthew Moores with an and one. The Pride of Yankton makes it a 4-point South Dakota State lead. They're up 5. Damon Wilkinson was great, too. The big man for the Jacks puts SDSU up 7. NDSU answers back. Feddersen scores 10 straight points. He already hit a free throw. There's a three. How about this take to the cup and the finish? Now he's got 6 in a row. Bison down 1. He ain't done. The feed here. Off glass for 2. That's 8. He'd add another one. Bison go up by 3 at halftime. Second half, Damari Wheeler-Thomas arrived. Had 5 points in the first half. There's a 3. Bison up 7. Jacks get it back down to 1. Wheeler-Thomas, another 3. Bison go back in front by 4. Jacks again get it down to 1. Markai Strickland is good for one of these a game. Beautiful pass from Wheeler-Thomas, and Markai with the in-your-face jam. We saw him do it on Saturday in Grand Forks. He did it again last night. The lead is 3. Watch this one from Markai. From the foul line, where he usually struggles, that floater is good. Bison go up by 5. Jacks again, the Bison kept him at arm's length. Wheeler-Thomas had these 2 baskets in a row. This drive, sensational. Puts him up by 6. Jacks cut it to 4. Damari says, all right, go right back. Blows by Luke Hurdle for the basket. Bison back up by 6. Now it's a 7-point lead. Andy Stefanowicz waits. Watch this shot. How does this go in? And the foul. That, as Wayne Larrabee says, is your dagger. This is unbelievable. Falling away. Seiler's doing his best, trying to not foul him. When it's your night, maybe when it's your season, shots like that go. North Dakota State wins in Brookings for the 3rd straight year, 74-66. The Bison sweep the Jacks for the first time since 2017. Look at the stat line last night. Wheeler-Thomas had 18 points in the second half. He was sensational. Travion Carson, a big stat line, is 12 rebounds and 6 points. Feddersen goes for 19, and the Bison win on the road for the 10th time this season. Afterwards, an excited head coach talked about a Bison victory once again.
Bunch of credit to South Dakota State, and nothing that I didn't expect. And when you got a new team, do they fully understand the rivalry and the atmosphere here that we're going to get? And I thought we got just a valiant effort by South Dakota State. But at the end of the day, really proud of our guys. I didn't love who we were in the first half, but to find a way in this environment, this rivalry down the stretch in the season, extremely proud. I thought we settled in. I thought we got more aggressive, Brad. In the second half, getting downhill, we finally got ourselves into the double bonus, and then they were really taking advantage of some ball screen coverages, and we made some adjustments, on that. Credit to our staff and assistants, but again, extremely proud of our guys to come into this environment and handle a really good basketball team today.
They found another way to win on the road. 10 road victories this season. So, after last night, the Bison now are at 12-1. They have a 2-game lead in the standings with 3 games to go. If North Dakota State can beat Kansas City on Saturday, the Bison will clinch a share of the league championship. If that's not enough to get butts in the seats on Saturday, I don't know what will, or watch our broadcast. That's where NDSU is at. St. Thomas at 10-3. The Tommies have just the 1 game this week, but St. Thomas's closing stretch is no easy deal here. St. Thomas has Denver, which is a huge game coming up on Saturday, and Denver, we know, has been playing better. They lost to Omaha to snap their win streak, did the Pioneers, but they're looking to make some noise in their final Summit League tournament here in just 2 weeks' time. We'll be down there. Then you have UND, Fighting Hawks of Kansas City, and then they go to South Dakota State on Saturday. And Omaha, who got a nice win last night. Mavericks now have won 3 in a row. Don't overlook Omaha here. They're not going to win the league championship, but they're going to be heard from once we get down to Sioux Falls. Then USD, Denver. Boy, the Jackrabbits look like, there's still a couple games left. The Jacks are 12-16. They're 3 games under 500 in the league. They're going to be the 6, the 7, likely when we get to Sioux Falls. And then obviously Kansas City and ORU. The Roos play at UND tonight. We'll see them in person coming up on Saturday. Meanwhile, on the women's standings, Bison women are back in action tonight. Looking forward to visit with Jory Collins later in our show as They've got St. Thomas. First time the Bison women have been at home in 3 weeks. They're excited to be back in their home building. South Dakota and South Dakota State sitting there at 10-2. Everybody playing tonight. The Coyotes have Omaha. South Dakota State goes to Oral Roberts. And then you see with St. Thomas and ORU tied for 4th. And then Denver, Kansas City, UND, and Omaha wrapping up the league standings. As I mentioned, the Summit League basketball tournament is 2 weeks away. And we are down the stretch run, which is just sensational to see what is going to take place. And for those that maybe haven't gotten into it here locally, that you're wrapped in football in the Mountain West, and that's fine. I'm here to tell you the basketball teams here are good. I've been saying it since December. Well, now it's almost the end of February. March is right around the corner. These teams have a legit chance to either make the NCAA tournament or maybe do something in the NCAA tournament. Awesome stuff there last night from the Bison men. Big 10 road wins. Just think about this. I did this stat last night. As now they got their 11th, road win last night. How many teams have more than that road victories? Santa Clara has won 11 road games out of the West Coast Conference, right? McNeese, I'm looking at those. Sorry, this is that was the women's standings here. Bison picked up, as I mentioned, their 10th road win. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Too many tabs open. Stephen F. Austin has 10 road wins. Belmont, which I believe Dave brought them up on the show when he was with us on Tuesday, out of the Missouri Valley. They have 11 road wins. And Miami of Ohio, who's one of the great stories in college basketball this year. The Redhawks are unbeaten at 26-0. Obviously, they have 11 road wins. That's it. So NDSU is in that category for road victories this season. That is awfully, awfully impressive. Good stuff there. Speaking of good stuff, we talked about it off the top. We got our Olympic update here, so spoiler warning ahead. But if you didn't know what happened yesterday, there's not much I can do. We have a short window to show the highlights, so let's do it now before NBC and the IOC shut us down. The United States men's hockey team was facing Sweden in the quarterfinals. This is the win-or-go-home round of the tournament. 7 members of the Minnesota Wild played on each of these two teams. And you had the Stars there last night to check it out. The United States would score first on a goal here from Dylan Larkin on a tip. That's a fantastic goal. Makes it a 1-0 USA lead. Guys, this may be the wrong tape, so just a heads up on that. Yeah, I believe it is. So if we can find that Olympic quarters tape, sorry, we can do the highlights here proper because this is a separate tape. So I'll tap dance here for a second. There we go. Thank you, guys. Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets, got the start. There's George Kittle in the crowd. Everybody was there. Hellebuck was great because the Swedes had chances a couple times over to score. It was a scoreless game after one. Hellebuck kept it scoreless there. The Swedes were nipping here a couple times. This one, Lucas Raymond had a chance to bang it home. Hellebuck makes a great save. It's still scoreless here. The first goal, that from Dylan Larkin from the Detroit Red Wings on a beautiful tip out in front to beat Jacob Markstrom from the New Jersey Devils. It's 1-0. Same score in the third. Again, the Swedes are buzzing around the net here. This play, great defensive one to keep it out of the zone from Jacob Slavin. Now, 90 seconds to go. Sweden has pulled its goaltender. Mika Zibanejad for the New York Rangers bangs it home. And the game is tied at 1 as the Swedes finally break through. So it goes to 3-on-3 overtime. Quinn Hughes of the Minnesota Wild sends everybody home with a beauty of a shot that bangs in off the post. Watch again. The sound on that was phenomenal. Hughes scores the game winner. The United States will move into the semifinals. They beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime. That game may have only been topped by the Canadian game with Czechia yesterday because that was unbelievable hockey game. Canada, of course, the number 1 seed. Czechia had to play on Tuesday just to get into the next round. It's a 1-1 score. We pick it up, and not anymore. That slapper from David Pasternak from the Boston Bruins makes it a 2-1 Czechia lead. Canada, which got about 18 captains on its roster. That's one of them, Nathan McKinnon, on the power play from the Avalanche, ties the game at 2. Czechia would not go away. Here, controversy reigns on this play. Andre Palat will come in, he'll score, but Czechia had 6 guys on the ice. Look at, you can count there when they celebrate. There are 6 guys in the celebration. Nobody caught it, and the Czechians have a 3-2 lead. The Canadians down to the final 3.5 minutes. Nick Suzuki tips it home. Everyone in Canada can breathe easy for a minute because the game is tied. Remember, it's lose and you're done. So again, we have 3-on-3 overtime. Mitch Marner from the Vegas Golden Knights, backhanded winner. The emotion from these guys. I'm telling you, some people might not like to hear it, but for some, the Olympic gold medal means more than the Stanley Cup. And I think you saw that from some of the players yesterday. Canada is still alive. We had 3 overtime games yesterday. So here are the semifinals. Tomorrow morning, Canada and Finland will play at 9:40. The other semifinal will feature the United States and Slovakia just after 2 o'clock. So map out your day now. That if you're going to the Dome tomorrow, you can have your tablet or whatever on to watch the United States men play. The winners to play for the gold medal. And that time is right, by the way, on Sunday. It is 7 a.m. for the gold medal game on Sunday. The closing ceremonies are after that, so that's why everything gets pushed. I think that is the last event of the Olympics is the men's gold medal hockey game, which figures if it's USA-Canada, that will be a pricey ticket to get in. But that was the story yesterday. The updated medal count, obviously Michaela Schifrin won gold. We added another. We have not dominated in snowboarding, a sport we created. We're not doing well at this year. Norway, 10 clear of the United States. The Italians sit second. We got 27 medals, I believe, to be handled out over the next 4 days. Of course, the women's gold medal hockey game coming up here. The United States is guaranteed a medal there. Whether it's gold or silver, we're going to find out later this afternoon. So that's the update from Milan yesterday. Just a fab. If you're not a hockey fan, I got you. But if you weren't somewhat wrapped into what was going down yesterday, I got nothing for you because that was unbelievable. And I imagine tomorrow will be just as good. The Finns are the reigning gold medalists. Granted, they won it when the NHLers weren't there. This is why the NHL wanted to go so badly. And, I mean, we saw it, frankly, 2 summers ago with the men's basketball Olympic tournament. The amount of NBA guys, I mean, it was France had the United States beaten with Wembanyama. It was phenomenal. And yesterday was just like on a hockey. It was just great. We have a packed show coming up for you here today on this Thursday morning. Talking about titles. Congratulations to the Concordia women. The Cobbers won the MIAC championship last night. First time in 13 years. Head coach Kim Wagers will join us coming up at 9:35. Fresh off a championship celebration last night. We'll talk to Coach about the victory and look ahead now to the MIAC postseason coming up. That's at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, our guy Sam Goetzinger will be here. Busy week for our guy. He's got Bison Hoops tonight with me, and then he'll be at the Fargo Dome for the next 2 days to get ready for and call in the North Dakota State Wrestling Tournament. I believe he's on Class B again, which had some unbelievable drama last year. Sam will join us at 10. And I mentioned Jory Collins always at 10:35. Bison women's basketball head coach as North Dakota State has 4 games remaining. They're back home. 3 of those last 4 are in Fargo, including tonight with St. Thomas. We'll chat with Jory about that coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Thursday morning. We'll take our first break. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We come back, how the Gophers are suddenly in the mix. Yeah, you can see all the new snow that came down on our drone shots there. Back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody, on a Thursday morning. All right, here's the lineup as we get ready for the 2026 State Wrestling Tournament at the Dome. Coverage gets going here in about 40 minutes. The individual first-round matches, everything you can stream everything all weekend long on WDAY Plus. Today is streaming exclusive. Nothing on television proper today. Everything will be streaming starting here at the top of the hour. They'll do the first round. We'll roll to the quarterfinals. All that will happen this afternoon. Wrestlebacks will start as well. Then, take a little break. Semifinals will go at 5 o'clock today for Class A, Class B, and the girls. So we will have our championship matches set by, I say, 7 o'clock, 7:30 tonight. And then tomorrow, you can watch all the wrestlebacks in the morning. If you're looking for an individual wrestler at what weight class, we've got every mat covered. So you will see that tomorrow beginning at 10 a.m. And then here on Extra, the individual championships get going at 4:30 for the boys and the girls. They'll turn the lights out. They'll introduce each wrestler. That takes a little bit. We did this last year, but that's honestly the moment for those individuals that have made it all the way to the final. You get to see that as part of our coverage. And then we wrestle, and you'll get to see every champion crowned. Now, if you want to watch individually the separate match, you can do that. Our coverage on Extra will have what's called the multi-view up. So we'll have, when we hit the air at 4:30 tomorrow, and I was really proud to be part of the first year we did it last year of doing this, which is, we never tried this before, that we have all three matches up at the same time. And so I believe Riley Swenson is piloting our coverage this year, that you'll see Class A in one box, Class B in another, and the girls down here, however they're going to do it this year. I'm not privy to that, but that's what you'll see on Extra, and we'll pop in when a match is getting exciting or whatever. It's really, really innovative. But if you just want to watch the individual matches, so you know what? I just want to watch Class A boys. You can do that on our stream on Extra. If I just want to watch the girls, you can do that on WDAY Plus. It's really, really neat. So more on that. We'll give Sam the full runway to explain all that coming up later on in our second hour of the show, as he's a busy man getting ready for what's going to come tomorrow. I wanted to save this for the second segment of our show because we ran heavy with the Bison in the Olympics, but also going on last night. If you weren't tuned in to what we just were talking about with the Bison men's game, the Gopher women are a story, folks. Dawn Plitzel-White, we know what she did at South Dakota, right? Got the Coyotes to a spot where they were right with the Jackrabbits. That USD made a Sweet 16 in 2022 and they were the team. And obviously USD is taken a bit now. It's been 4 years, and now the Coyotes, we'll see if they're back yet. I'm intrigued on that. She went to West Virginia for a year and now has been in Minnesota. They won the WBIT last year, and they are in line for an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Last night, they had 10th-ranked Ohio State at the barn. The Gophers coming in and won 8 in a row. Really hard to think that win streak was going to continue, but nobody told Minnesota that because they played inspired last night. Up by 5 in the third quarter. They got hot. Grace Grahalski is just a really good player. And Bison fans know this is almost the same team that we saw when NDSU lost to Minnesota in the WNIT a couple years ago. There's a drive and finish. That's a tough take. I love watching Amaya Battle play. Saw her up here as a freshman eons ago when Lindsay Whalen, who recruited most of this team. Corner 3 from Tori McKinney. She had 9. Gophers are they're up 16 on Ohio State. Ohio State had 44 points in the fourth quarter. Straight on 3 from Mara Braun. Misses. Big time rebound underneath that from Sophie Hart, who was great last night. She had 18 for Minnesota. Ohio State met a rally. It's an 8-point lead. McKinney kicks it. Grahalski with a dagger 3 there that put Minnesota up 11. She made 4 threes last night. The Gophers beat the Ohio State 74-61 for a 9th straight win. Minnesota is now 21-6 on the year and 12-4 in the Big Ten as you wake up this morning. And our good friend Justin Guardsy, who calls the games on the radio, tweeted out last night that Minnesota is playing as well as they are, that This is an NCAA tournament team, and beyond that, they could host in the opening round of the tournament, which immediately got the brain going there, because just think about this. Now, the latest bracketology that Charlie Cream has out from ESPN, and this is not updated after last night's win, so it'll be out tomorrow, had Minnesota as a 6 seed playing at TCU as a 3. That may have to change after this. Imagine, just go down the rabbit hole with me here, folks, for just a minute. Because if you're a, a top 5, I believe, how many seeds they get to host? Top 4 seeds get to host. That if Minnesota can play its way into a top 4, that if the Bison make the tournament, what are the chances that Minnesota hosts and the Bison go to Williams Arena? Maybe not necessarily play Minnesota, but they're in the same regional. NCAA loves to save money. Just let your mind think about that for a second, that could potentially happen here. Because remember, in the women's basketball tournament, the high seed hosts for the first 2 rounds. So Minnesota's not out of the realm of possibility that they could potentially get there. Let's see how they finish the season here. But they're trending in the right direction. They won 9 in a row. They got 2 regular season games left. Michigan State coming up over the weekend, and then at Illinois to wrap up, and then it's the Big Ten tournament. If they get crazy hot, which they are right now, they won 9 in a row, and they just beat the 10th-ranked team in the country. The 18th-ranked team is coming up in Michigan State. I'm telling you, folks, just put it out there. A lot of things still have to happen. Minnesota's got to win some games, and obviously the Bison have to make it. But just file that away that we said it here on February the 19th, that could be a possibility of something down the road. We will wait and see. Good stuff there last night. They got a really good team. It's great to see Mara Braun back. Remember, she got hurt in that game against NDSU 2 years ago in the WNIT, that she wasn't part of that. And the Gophers made a run there, I think, did they make it to the championship, I think, of the WNIT in that year in 24. They won the WBIT last year. Now, steady increase for Plitzaway. Just saw the same thing in Vermillion. She's doing that in Minneapolis. Good stuff. All right, we'll break. We come back, talk about a steady increase. That's certainly what happened at Concordia. The Cobbers are MIAC champions this morning. Head coach Kim Wagers will join us after the celebration last night. That's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Shot of downtown is cleanup underway. Road's still a little gross. Hopefully it'll get better as the day goes on. It's pretty good going right now over in Moorhead. Celebration last night at Memorial Auditorium as the Concordia Cobber women's basketball team clinched the MIAC championship last night with a victory. First time the Cobbers have won the league crown in 13 years after their victory last night over St. Olaf. It's great to have head coach Kim Wagers back with us. We had her on last month when things were humming, and we're no front runners. We've been talking to you for a bit, so we're not just getting on the bandwagon now. But how's MIAC champion sound the day after?
It sounds great. Yeah, this is really fun to obviously get a big win at home last night, and then get a little bit of help from St. Mary's to have it be where we couldn't get a tie, right? So, yeah, I'm super proud of my group and excited for what's to come yet here too. No sharing, Kim. How you just mentioned, how big a deal is that? You guys this is yours and yours alone. Yeah, I think outright is pretty amazing. I mean, we've been in the hunt the last few years, and so I think it's just really special for our seniors to finally be that 1 seed and get to host, hopefully, on MIAC championship next week, and not being the number 2 or not have to share and not get the 1 seed, right? That's just a really good feeling, and obviously our kids have put in all the work, and so they deserve it. There's something to be said about playing your best ball at the right time, right? Late in the season. You feel, obviously you won 7 in a row. Is that where you're at right now? Do you still think I know you're a coach, we got better in us here? Oh yeah, there's for sure. We haven't played perfect quite yet. But yeah, I think we're playing well, which is good. I just saw this morning we moved to like number one in the country in assist percentage.
Wow.
And so I was just like beaming, excited, texting all our coaching staff this morning that we've been sitting at 2 or 3 kind of the last month. And so I was super proud of our group we're just playing the right way, which has led to wins, but they're playing awesome, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
How big a deal is that? Is that something you obviously sharing the ball, but to be ranked number one in the country, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's, I mean, not necessarily something was on my bingo card at the beginning of the year, but that's how we want to play, right? And so this group is really balanced and really they really play for each other, and you can tell when the ball is bouncing like that and we're getting the type of assist numbers that we are.
When you have that kind of sharing among the team as well, just how well is that reflecting your team that, hey, we've got a lot of really good players that no one player has to dominate and have the ball in their hands late in the game?
Yeah, I think that helps, hopefully. I mean, there's not a ton of pressure on one person to always be the person that we're staring at, trying to get the ball to or trying to get touches to. And when it's popping, obviously we're harder to guard. And so I think it's a really good balance. And I think the kids actually like have bought into like that feels really good when the ball's moving and we don't have to rely on 1 or 2 people from a scoring standpoint.
All right, so did you get the water bath in the locker room afterwards? We saw the presentation that Jim Sella gave you guys, the plaque and all that. Describe it afterwards. What was that like?
No, we didn't do. I didn't get wet this time, so like no locker room. We actually went to the locker room on Saturday after senior day and our 100th win, and so that was a little bit more of a celebration in the locker room on Saturday. We just like one of the parents surprised us with those championship T-shirts, which was really fun. Our parents are outstanding, and so that was really fun to just take photos and celebrate that. We weren't sure. We played early last night, so we were still like we have work to do on Saturday to make sure that we get it out right. And then St. Mary's played late last night or later, and so we didn't know we were out right until after that second game. But
that's pretty forward thinking on the way to have the shirts ready. That's tremendous. Was that a surprise when you saw them after the game?
Yeah, they kind of surprised us, and you know how coaches are. We're very like superstitious, and so it was just like a really fun surprise. I think the kids obviously are excited anytime we can get gear for them, and so it was a fun way to celebrate.
All right, Kim, for people that don't know how the MIAC tournament works, give us the format of what's ahead. You have one regular season game left on Saturday. Well, then what's ahead for you guys next week?
Yeah, so we have 12 teams in our league and only 6 make the tournament, and then we'll play the 1 and 2 get bye, so we've earned a bye now.
Okay.
And so 3 and 6 will play, 4 and 5 will play on Tuesday in the quarter, and then we'll host a semifinal. And then as the 1 seed, we'd host the championship on Saturday if we win on Thursday.
Just think about that. I mean, I know you got your coach. You're going to tell me one game at a time, but the chance to potentially clinch the automatic bid on your home floor has got to be really, really exciting to think about.
Yeah, that is. It's so awesome. We've been runners up a few times here, and so to be on our home floor, right? We've had chances to host. Like where we're like fighting with the 2 seed and just drop one game late in the year that gave Gustavus a chance to host the last couple of years, and so to do all the work and kind of get through that where you're not going to drop a game that you shouldn't to lose that 1 seed is something I think especially our seniors were fully aware of heading into January and deep February here, and so to have the opportunity to host and be at home is just so fun. I'm so excited for our crew.
I remember visiting with you 2 years ago on the show about that you had everything in front of you, but you had to play a road game for that MIAC championship. This is and you got a lot of players back. How does that feel for them, knowing what they went through a couple years ago to now get ready for what's to come potentially next week?
Yeah, I think it's really special for all those kids that have been on those teams. to just be at home and celebrate with our home fans and the community, obviously, and the campus community at Concordia has been so supportive. And so obviously I think we have a slight advantage just with where we're located,
Travel,
right? So
yep,
we love
no
when
doubt.
teams have to come up here that like we spend a ton of time on the bus. And so when other teams have to do that, I feel like we just, we have a slight advantage at home for lots of reasons, but that's one of them.
You're going to be rolling your eyes at me here, but talking about down the road. But I'm looking at the regional rankings here. The Cobbers are third. So is there an opportunity for an at-large bid if things don't go the way you want next week?
Yeah, I think so. We're using the MPI, which is the National Power Index now, and so from what we see from our MPI ranking, it's like 13th in the country right now.
Wow.
And so we should have an at-large, even if things don't go great next week, which they won't. But we're gonna get the auto, and hopefully then have an opportunity to maybe host a NCAA first round.
Wow.
Well, first and second round.
That's big time stuff. You knew full well, I'm assuming, the history of Concordia women's basketball when the job opened up when Jess Raymond retired. So tell me about the long range goal you had. Is this where are you on time, ahead of time, behind time on when you took the job 7 years ago?
Well, you know how you put together those like first 30 days,
Yep.
first year, and a conference championship was on my 5 year. I think this is year 6. So I'm a little behind, although if you count COVID,
Right,
I don't know.
exactly.
Right?
You got to throw
We'll
that
give it an
out.
asterisk.
Yep, totally.
But no, definitely we've taken strides to get Jess did such a good job, and the history and tradition over here is just outstanding, which is one of the reasons I was so interested in the job, just with the history of Concordia and obviously the support I'd have here, but also the tradition made a huge difference. Like people can win here, right? It's been proven, it's been done. And so, yeah, we're right kind of on track, I guess. We got to take care of business here for next weekend. And then obviously another appearance in the NCAA tournament was definitely something that was listed in that 5 years to be not only consistently competitive in the MIAC, but make those appearances nationwide. Right?
You know as well the level of talent around here, and I don't know if I've asked you about it, so I'll ask you now. How good is it locally, the level of girls/women's basketball, not just Fargo-Moorhead, but North Dakota, Minnesota, for what you recruit?
Yeah, I mean, the Midwest is just a hotbed for basketball. If you look around the country, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, right? All those states, the basketball is just really good. And then locally within 200 miles, I mean, we're literally living in a hotbed of just really, really good basketball on the women's side, and on the men's side too, obviously. But yeah, most of our recruits are within 2.5 hours kind of tops. We do have a kid from Arizona, but the rest of our roster is either kind of Fargo-Moorhead area or central Minnesota. So, yeah, I mean, we've been able to keep some of those kids local, and they're playing really good basketball, and that's really exciting for us, obviously, as a staff. When we think about recruiting, it's awesome to be able to pull from the area.
And knowing full well that the teams in your league have basically in the Twin Cities, that's an advantage for them. How do you combat that?
Well, when the Fargo area is good, right? Like that helps a ton, right? So we obviously I think the Fargo-Moorhead area is an awesome community, right? Like I think there's lots of things that are super attracting about the community. I think with the Twin Cities kids, it's getting them up here for a visit just so that they can see that there's life beyond like St. Cloud or wherever, however far they've been. But for us, when we can pull local kids that can obviously compete with those teams that are loaded with Twin Cities kids, that helps a ton. And some of that is the high school coaches in the area do such a good job, and the club basketball and all of the youth stuff that has popped up has done just a really good job of providing really good opportunities for girls and for the sport to keep growing up here.
Now, did I force you to come into the office today to do this, or were you there already as a coach? Like, hey, we're on the grind. There's no time to celebrate.
Oh yeah, no, we're here.
Did you give yourself a little time?
Yep.
Did you give yourself a little time to celebrate?
No celebrating yet. We'll celebrate in April and May when the season's over and we get to kindly take a deep breath and like reflect a little bit. For now, it's just on to the next. I think us as coaches probably, especially me, probably need to do a better job of just enjoying the W's every once in a while. With our kids, we want them to celebrate for 24 hours, right? And then get back in the gym tonight and we'll get after planning for Scholastica. But I think some of that is just trying to keep in rhythm too and keep our intensity and focus. And so, we're back at it right away. And then, I got lots of meetings today and fun stuff.
But you did mention 100 wins. Describe, that's a big deal. How personally gratifying was that for you to hit that last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really special. I mean, I think it's credit to my assistant coaches that I've had here. They're definitely not my wins. They're our staff wins and our players wins as well. So I've had just such tremendous help with Terry Porter and Allie and Wing's been a great addition, and obviously Lori and I had Lindsay Schultz as an assistant here before, so they've been huge parts of those 100 wins, and then our alumni that have like built the standard and kind of got our program to where we wanted to be here. When I'm talking about 5-year goals, right? Like that, a lot of that is our alumni that have just graduated and have kind of set the tone for the kids who are hard doing it right now, and so. It was really fun. It was senior day, and so that made it extra special too. And these seniors are just being tremendous leaders and like so consistent, and they're super fun to coach. So it was really fun to do it with them while honoring them on senior day too.
I texted him last night, but there's something about the Wingenbach family that just wins titles. So how much you overcame that by his addition to win, which is even more impressive this year. So congratulations on that too.
He is outstanding. He's just impacted our team in so many ways this year, and obviously he started this summer, but he's been such a great addition.
He's a good man, and I gave him a hard time last night on that, but congratulations. I hope you enjoy a little bit. This is a big deal, winning a conference championship, especially in this day and age of where players are moving and going. So thanks so much for the time, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Kim Wagers joining us, Concordia women's basketball head coach, the Cobbers MIAC champions, first time in 13 years. You heard Kim say they will host next Thursday, a week from tonight, will be the MIAC semis. If they win that, they will play at home a week from Saturday for the MIAC championship. I'm looking at the latest regional ranking that came out earlier this week, had the Cobbers in Region 9, with Oshkosh first, Whitewater second, and then Concordia at 3. And they need, I believe, 4 hosts because it's similar to what we were talking about on the Division I women's basketball that they host around the country there. Cobbs are in great shape to not only potentially get the automatic bid, one way or the other, they're playing in the NCAA tournament here in a few weeks. Congrats to them with a bunch of really talented players. Taylor Safransky from Fargo Davies, Maya Metcalf from West Fargo Cheyenne, Molly Muslin from Lemoore. I mean, they got some studs on that team, and excited to see what happens next week in the MIAC tournament. I remember when the Cobbers hosted, gosh, might have been 2012, might have been 2013, going over there. It was Memorial Auditorium was always fun, but it was rocking when they last hosted way back when. Congrats to them. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour coming up. Lowdown on state wrestling. Jory Collins in about a half hour as well. Much more on Hot Mic right after this. Oh, a little Spidey shout out. I like that, Brody. Thanks for that. Welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour. Good stuff there with Kim Wagers. It's just fascinating to me now scanning social media and seeing different national outlets writing about Bison football. CBSSports.com is now a big piece on NDSU and the money being raised to go to the Mountain West Conference. It's fascinating. You heard the interview we had with Gloria Navarez yesterday, the Mountain West commissioner, about the national reaction to this has been a 180 when you say from Sacramento State. I don't know if ridicule might be too strong a word about Sac State, although there's been plenty of that. That has not been the case around the Bison move. And it's fascinating to see the different reactions and stories going on about this. And another really fun topic we're going to have talking about between now and the start of the football season is the national attention that's going to come to this football team that, frankly, had only come around draft time, combine time, and it's going to ramp up next week. The NFL Combine is next week. You don't think they're going to be talking about Cole Payton? I know they're going to be talking about Cole Payton and Bryce Lance. You're crazy when we get to this time next week and the Combine gets rolling. So that we had that. Like draft time, especially with Gray last year, you hear about North Dakota State. And then you had Mel Kiper and the usual talking 1AA and not FCS. That is now officially donezo. That maybe the occasional mention, obviously, on ESPN when they got to the national championship game and the highlights of it. If there was an unbelievable play, it might warrant a quick blurb on the top 10 on SportsCenter. Occasionally maybe on the college football final show, which is the highlights on Saturday night if somebody went nuts. Game day would throw them a bone if they were playing South Dakota State and Reese Davis off the top of the show. It's the Saturday spotlight, and you'd see sometime that would be it. That is not what we've experienced here over the last 14 days. It just isn't. And that is not, I don't think, what's going to happen when we get to the start of the season. There are going to be times where they're going to be featured on a bigger platform, whether it be Fox Sports 1, whether it be CBS Sports Network, maybe, who knows? We don't know the non-conference games if that gets picked up by an ESPN 2, if they're playing a Sun Belt team or a Conference USA team. They have deals with those networks. It's not out of the realm of possibility to see that. And then we're talking on a whole other deal. The league games are one thing. The non-conference, I'm telling you, that to pay attention to that as fervently as we are about the league schedule. Because the non-conference games, you could have them play North Texas. Okay, well, that's in the American. The American has a deal with ESPN. And they normally put those games on in pretty good time slots. You don't think that would be appealing? I mean, selfishly, I love having the games on WDAY. I love doing the games on WDAY. But that is a whole other level of attention and reach that we cannot get to. It's just a matter of fact. And that's for the non-conference games. Conference-wise, I mean, depending on how they do, what's to say that Fox wouldn't swoop in and say, all right, well, the Bison are playing UNLV, and they're the top two teams in the league in Week 10? Yeah, we're going to want that game, and maybe we'll put it on a Friday night. I'm just not in the realm of possibility. We'll have the conversation with John Sullivan, who does the football scheduling in the Mountain West Conference. We've got that scheduled for tomorrow's show, so looking forward to that conversation coming up tomorrow. All right, we'll break. We come back. Our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us, get us ready for state wrestling and a crazy next. This is the last time we're going to probably see him in studio for the next 6 weeks. That's coming up when Hour 2 of Hot Mike begins after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: Bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like west. I shouldn't say right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Oh,
I'm getting good at this.
he's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula.
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate
Okay.
and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal. Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
Well, I'm going to enjoy this because I don't know if I'm going to see you in person here for the next 6 weeks or so.
It's going to be a little while, isn't it?
Your tournament journey starts tomorrow.
I can't wait to join the show from various locations across North Dakota via Zoom if we have time for that.
Because next week is hockey.
We've done it at hockey before.
I mean, you could actually be here and then go out to the rink,
yes,
right?
I could. Last year we did it from the Ralph.
Yeah.
I think our internet connection was spotty, but I could make it fully suited up.
We're not on the air till noon,
Don't even
right?
ask me that yet. I have no idea.
You could do that.
That is a next week problem. We're focused on wrestling this week.
You could be a big timer like I am and show up just before we go on the air, and then everybody loves that. You could do that next week.
Yeah, I could do that.
Here he is. Sam Goetzinger joins us each and every Thursday. Great to see you. We're going to chat wrestling here in our next segment because It's officially underway right now. It just got started about 5 minutes ago. So if you're looking for it, everything today is available on WDAY Plus. Every mat is covered there. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for an individual to find, you'll find it there. Our television coverage will begin tomorrow afternoon. We'll get to that in just a little bit. You have been focused on hockey, Olympic hockey here. Yesterday was...
That was
amazing.
Something. That was
amazing.
That was a
day.
great day of hockey up and down the board. The 3 games that were on while we were sitting here at work were fantastic.
Yeah. All overtime.
I barely got anything done at work yesterday, which is not new, but it was fun. My phone actually died in the middle of the United States game. I was watching it on Peacock on my phone, and then once it got towards the end of the game, I raced home. And by raced, I mean I got caught in 20-mile-an-hour traffic on I-94 trying to get back home to watch the end of the game.
It got kind of nasty after about 4:30 on.
It did, yeah. It wasn't
great.
It wasn't fun. Traffic wasn't moving at all. And I'm sitting there flipping through the radio just trying to find some sort of update as to what's going on. And finally made it back just in time to see the overtime period, which was fantastic.
So the big talker for non-hockey people today was about how they do overtime in the Olympics. Now, I'm a big fan of 3-on-3.
Yes, we were just talking about that.
I would prefer that in the National Hockey League. What is 3-on-3 in overtime in the NHL? Is it 5 minutes in the regular season?
Oh, no.
Is it 8?
I think it's a little bit longer.
I can't remember what is. Okay, it's
is
5.
It 5 minutes for regular
thanks,
season?
Ben.
Okay.
So do that for 8 and get rid of the shootout. I would be all on board with that. It's fantastic.
Yes, I agree. I will say, I know this reminds me of our hockey fighting debate that we had a little while ago. I personally, I'm a fan of shootouts. I know a lot of people aren't. I don't like it for big-time games, when to decide playoff games
it
or
could
decide
happen
gold
today.
medal. Absolutely. In the women's gold medal game, very well could happen between USA and Canada. I like it. I don't like it in the Olympics like this. I do love 3-on-3. I think it opens up the ice. It shows off the skill. I'm a fan of that. 5-on-5, too many possibilities for extended overtime periods.
Well, you could go for a long... I have no problem with it in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Did you see the 12U game in Minnesota the other night?
They went 13 overtimes.
Yes, and then ended in a shootout. Stuff like that.
My first initiation to the shootout was actually at the Olympics. It was 1994, the gold medal game between Canada and Sweden. Peter Forsberg got on a stamp in Sweden because of how he scored the goal.
Yep.
I remember vividly. I'd never seen anything like it. Like, wow, that was the greatest thing ever. So when the NHL adopted that after the strike or the lockout, when they wiped out the whole Stanley Cup season in 2006, I'm like, all right, this is neat. This is a cool way. No more ties and get rid of that. But it's been 20 years of the shootout now.
That's fair.
Let's move on from that and let's go to 3-on. I'm fine. You want to play 8 to 10 minutes of 3-on-3? Let's roll. Those games will never take 10 minutes anyway. The amount of skill out there, you will have a winner.
Like with yesterday when Quinn Hughes and Matt Boldy were on the ice with Austin Matthews. Man, this is awesome. I was sitting there thinking, if these two and the addition of Austin Matthews on this 3-on-3 do not finish it here, I'll be absolutely shocked because the Wild are so good in overtime this season with those two and Kaprizov. But I get what you're saying. I agree. I'm a fan of shootouts, say, in a regular season game, especially at the high school, college, maybe even the NHL level, just to get it and move on and make the deciding factor. In the Olympics, no, I don't think it should be there.
Yeah, the game yesterday, just every player was on an NHL roster, right? Because the United States, Sweden, all their players
Canada
were NHL
has
guys.
All the United States does.
So if you're a Minnesota Wild fan watching that yesterday, how do you feel about, they're going, there was no easing up yesterday. There were 7 guys on the Wild between the two teams, and obviously the guy who scored the game-winning goal now plays for the Minnesota Wild, and Quinn Hughes.
I think it was a little easier pill to swallow because Wallstead wasn't in goal for Sweden.
He was not.
It was Markstrom who plays
Devils
for the
goalie,
New
right?
Jersey Devils, which I find was funny. He has not been good all year, and then played phenomenal yesterday against the United States All-Star team. I think this is great if you're a Minnesota Wild fan. Just looking at the United States,
it's
awesome.
Stanley Cup or bust here for the Wild this
absolutely.
year. I know what the division they're in, but man, with the talent they have. They got to do something.
Because they went into the break, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but they have like a 5-game win streak or something like that. So they built up. They're now ahead of Dallas in the standings. So that means if all holds true through the second half here, or the last little bit, they're going to host Dallas as opposed to going to Dallas, which is huge.
So 2 things on this, on hockey, because I love the sport. I don't watch it nearly as much, the National Hockey League, as I used to. I certainly will when the playoffs come around because I enjoy that. The boon out of this, can the NHL take advantage of this, is I guess my question. If the United States and Canada end up playing Sunday for the gold medal, will that trickle to when the NHL regular season resumes on Wednesday that people are watching?
I hope so. It kind of had that feel a little bit Four Nations-wise.
It did a little bit last year. I don't know if it's sustained all the way to the Stanley Cup final.
No, I don't think
it
did. I don't think it did. You really got to hope so. I guess that's the question is the casual person who's watching the Olympics who doesn't care.
My dad does not watch hockey. I know he was watching the USA game yesterday because it's the Olympics and the drama of it.
It's hard unless you have your team you want to cheer for. I think that's harder for the casual fan to get into because yes, it is a niche sport, if you will. I really hope so because what the NHL has got going for them this year, the parity is unreal.
Yeah, the product is great.
Yes.
I mean, there's no doubt on that. It's just it does not translate, I think. Like soccer is the same way. We've been talking about soccer is going to be the next big thing, and now here, we have the World Cup in the United States this summer.
Yeah.
Is there's boon of people that are going to start watching the Premier League? I don't think so. I think the people that are in it are in their silo. They're going to watch.
Right. It's tough to compare, too, because the Olympics are essentially what everybody wants these all-star games to be. You have all your stars out, and they're actually playing physical. They're playing like they want to be there. Yeah. They're playing tough. And that's not exactly translated over to the NHL game, essentially. Right. Not everybody is a recognizable name, which I think could turn some people off. But I hope so. I think it's going to be really fun down the stretch, and what makes it more exciting around here is that the Wild have a really good chance.
So one other topic here I wanted to hit on before we break. Friend of the show, John Malaya, used to be the MSHL media guy who just recently retired after last year, wrote on his Substack, I thought, a really good post. I don't know if you saw this.
I read that last night.
So the Minnesota State girls hockey tournament officially began yesterday in St. Paul. And Malaya's post on this is to move the girls hockey tournament out of the X.
Yes.
Or Grand Casino Arena, whatever. It's still the XL Energy Center to me. And I could not agree more on that.
Absolutely.
And it's not a slight to the girls. It's you're playing, and I say the same thing. I'll relate it here to North Dakota. I understand, and you've called 3 state tournaments up there. And I called 3 up there as well when I used to do the state tournaments for hockey. How big a deal it is for the kids in our state to get a chance to play at Ralph Engelstad Arena. But it's terrible. It's a cavernous, even when Grand Forks Central and Red River, and you've called a state championship game. I have as well. It's the lower bowl is fine, but you still have the old upper tank that's empty.
Exactly.
And it's to an nth degree with the girls hockey tournament as well. So I guess my question is, what would be the perfect venue? I know Shields Arena would be here in North Dakota.
Yes,
not even a doubt.
absolutely.
You're going to see it next week. Even if it's Red River and Central, that's going to be a fantastic environment next Saturday night in South Fargo. What about in Minnesota if they were to take it out for the girls out of the XL Energy Center?
He put in 2 options in his article that I really agree with. The first one is Ritter Arena, which was designed
University of Minnesota.
Designed specifically to hold women's and girls hockey, especially for the University of Minnesota, and they built it in the intention of hoping to have the girls state tournament in there as well. And they had it there for a little bit. That's 3,400 seats, which is much more doable than 18,000 that you get at Grand Casino Arena.
Because when you watch, the games are going to be televised starting tomorrow by KSTC, and you see the wide shots there. It's brutal.
There's a picture. There's a picture linked with the article that he put out from one of the quarterfinal games yesterday, and I kid you not, 95% of the crowd was the band.
Yeah,
and it's not a slight to the girls because the quality that's on the ice at this tournament is really good.
It's killing it.
Yes, if anything, it's more of a slight to the fans and the fan bases and the support from local communities, I guess, for girls hockey, because they're not showing out like they are for the boys state.
Well, there's 2 other options I would throw out there. Amsoil Arena in Duluth, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
or the new rink at St. Thomas?
That was the other one that was good for me. And what's important to note that if you're looking for other other venues, there has to be another sheet readily available
For consolation
for the
games.
consolation games. And for Ritter, you have another one.
The St. Thomas rink have it?
They have another one
Okay.
as well. Obviously, it isn't bigger. Amsoil has this thing called the Deck, which was
Yes.
the original UMD facility, which is, it's old, but it's definitely doable. My thing is most of the Minnesota high school hockey teams are in the southern part of the state. Do you want them and their fan bases to travel all the way north at this time of the year? Are they going to do that? Amsoil is fairly big. I think it's bigger than Ritter, considering. I think Ritter's the perfect spot, and Penny Anderson would be really cool if they could get some more in there. And it's not. I understand the equality.
Yeah.
If the boys are going to play at the Exeter
Right, it's a gender equity deal, and I'm so in favor of that. That's not, again, what I'm saying, but
to me, there's something about playing in front of
want
a
an
bigger
atmosphere.
crowd. Yes.
Correct.
I would take an atmosphere over wear any day.
And that's my argument for here as well.
Yes.
Like I would say here, to bring it back to North Dakota, I'd say Ralph is fantastic, and there's no slighting that. But do you want the best atmosphere? The first year, Sam, we got to do the state hockey tournament here in Fargo, 2015. It was fantastic. And that year, I think it was Central and Minot. Right? And, the championship night was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the State High School League was coming to me saying, this is beyond what we thought. And every year that they've come back to Shields Arena, I think that you've seen that. Even when we've had a couple Fargo teams actually be fortunate enough to make the state championship game. Like Fargo South made it one year.
Yep.
Davies made it another.
Yep.
Like, all right, this is really,
Two
really
years
good.
ago was the Grand Forks
Right.
teams, and
So-
it was filled up
and
well.
it was, I think you want to, and any athlete would tell you want to have a great atmosphere for your championship.
Right. Absolutely.
That would be the case at Shields Arena if they were to do that. I would
I
do that
agree
in a
with you.
heartbeat.
And what I like about that, having the tournament at Shields Arena and the boys and the girls on the same weekend, is that you have the girls occupying Farmers Union Insurance.
And you've done that before. Your first year
Yep.
here, the girls was a separate weekend. They tried that as a
at
test
Mesa.
balloon.
That was
Right.
at Mesa and Minot, and that did not go well. The third place game, naturally with Minot in it, was packed championship with
there's
Fargo,
nobody there, right?
Davies, and North South. There was nobody there.
Right.
Nobody there. And I like what they're doing on the same weekend. The girls occupying Farmers Union Insurance for the quarterfinals. That fills up really nicely. And then they move over for the semifinals and finals. And then you get that bigger crowd into a bigger facility, if you will. And Shields Arena definitely fits the mold of being a state tournament area, I feel like.
All right, our TED Talk is done on that. Just make it happen, North Dakota High School Activity Association. You heard it?
Yeah.
Here, just do it.
I mean, I love the Ralph. Like, it's awesome.
And everybody
Yeah.
says that, but
I love
it's not a good
especially
venue.
for
It's
girls
not
hockey.
no.
It's not. It's just you're playing in an empty tall closet.
This is an attorney for the MSHL said this. What the league didn't want was a situation where the girls played in front of 1,800 people in an 18,000 seat arena,
and that's
exactly what's
what it
happening.
is.
It
Yeah.
exactly happened on the North Dakota side. It's 1,000 people in an 11,000 seat arena in North Dakota.
Yep.
It's not good.
Yeah. No.
Make it happen.
I agree.
We're not going to have any attendance issues this weekend with wrestling. When we come back, we'll preview the state wrestling tournament. Sam's going to be on the call this weekend. We'll give us an update of our coverage and all that. That's coming up when we come back on this Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com after this. Welcome back, everybody. Here it is, our TV lineup. It is underway right now from the state wrestling tournament at the Fargo Dome. Just got underway at the top of the hour with the first round of A, B boys and girls. Everything you can stream on WDAY Plus. Semifinals are later tonight. Everything is streaming today. Tomorrow, our television coverage will begin at 4:30 with the individual championships for the boys in Class A and Class B and the girls. Sam back with us, and he'll be on the call of the boys in Class B for the second year in a row. I was pleased as punch. I got to do it last year for our first year doing it, which was us jumping in the deep end of how this was going to work.
It really was.
I got a feeling I think we did
so.
okay. We're ready to rock and roll, I think, here. But this is a big time deal with what we got going on the next 3 days.
Last year was the first time I got to experience it in my coming up on 4 years now of being in North Dakota. Man, that was awesome. The place is packed, especially when you get to those championship rounds. Yeah, you're right. I want to go today. I don't think I'll have time to get there, but I'll try to get there Friday, tomorrow, before we go on the air.
Yeah.
And it's just such a cool environment. Once you get those 3 mats going for the individuals and for the duels, I love it. It's fantastic.
So for those that didn't see it last year or were at the event and didn't get a chance to watch, how we do it is really, really neat because it's not we have 3 matches, especially starting tomorrow afternoon. You have the title matches all going at the same time. So, and you can stream them individually. Like if you want to watch Class A, you can. Class B, you can, or the girls. Or where we have it set up where we have what we call a 3-box where we have all 3 matches going on WDAY Extra, so you can watch everything happening at the same time.
Yep. It was quite the process last year to come up with a plan on how exactly we were going to show all of the action that was going on, and I think this was a really cool solution that we came up with. I like to think of it as you're watching NFL Red Zone on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of the case where you have your multi-view, and then we'll flip to one that's either shoulders are down on one mat. Let's go over to girls and see what's going on over there, and then we'll come back to the multi-view. I like it. I think it's It's tough. It's tough to get everything for a tournament of this magnitude, but I think this is the best solution. And you saw what it looks like there. I think it's going to look a little bit differently this year. We're changing up the look of the graphics a little bit. I think. I don't quote me. I could be completely wrong, but I think so.
You're going to get the messenger get beat up when you get upstairs. Right? You're promising stuff we're not, you can't deliver.
Exactly.
Don't do that. I've done that before.
I apologize, Omar, in advance if I totally screwed the rest of your weekend. My bad. But I think it's really cool. I'm not too familiar with the Minnesota State Wrestling Tournament, but I don't think it's something where you can go to one channel and you can see all the duels happening in one spot. Granted, there is more, but I don't think you can go to one spot and see it all. I think it's all individual streams, which we still have that option.
And that's the really neat part as well for people that's I just want to focus in on Class A boys. Well, you can do that tomorrow. You can just watch the one mat. We'll have all the 12 championships on that stream. If you want to watch the B boys, you can do that with you tomorrow. There's one stream for that. If you want to watch the girls, there's a stream for that.
Right.
That's the really neat part about it.
And then today there's a stream for each individual mat.
Yes.
So if you're looking through and my son or daughter is on mat 8.
Yes.
Okay, then
at
you can
133
pounds.
pounds.
You can look through and click on that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the really cool part about it. So there's a little pat on the back for us, but it's fun. I'm telling you, I called the girls last year, which was fantastic. I mean, there were multiple first-time winners and then multiple winners. Like we had one from Napoleon. She won her 5th state championship, and it's only been in the state for 5 years.
It's crazy.
There's some really, really impressive wrestlers that are going to be out there for the next couple days.
It's from my aspect of it to get ready to call the championship round. It's difficult to prep with because you almost have to fill out your own March Madness bracket to kind of. That's at least what I've been doing, and then it's not going to be solidified until later on tonight. So I'm going to change all my prep again. Yes. But especially on the Class B side, there's so many guys that I look forward to seeing hopefully make it to the championship round because they're going for either their 3rd or 4th in a row, or they've been a runner-up for 3 years in a row, and they're trying to break through. Or these two guys in this weight class have been clashing all season long, and then there's a potential that they could meet as the 1 and 2 seeds at the championship. It's so fun. There's so many intricate storylines for each wrestler that molds through.
The emotion.
There's a lot of drama.
The emotion is the best part. You had the B last year, the B duel that went down to the very last match. I mean,
that was great.
everything.
Went into
everybody
overtime.
Everybody else was done. We were done on the girls. The Class A boys was done. So the entire dome on Saturday afternoon was watching the B duel final to wrap up, and it was fantastic.
It was great. South Border and Velva, and that jumped. South Border had a lead. Velva had it in the middle of the duel, and then, as you mentioned, right at the end, came down to the last match, and you can kind of feel everybody from the other side of the dome. Now that their duel is done, they're over on this side. The whole place is collapsing down on this one match at 160 pounds. That's going down to double overtime to decide the winner.
It was totally.
You couldn't write it better than that. It's fantastic.
Real quick, you will be doing moonlighting some basketball tonight. Your other job.
Yes.
Bison women are back home.
I got to do my other work tonight, don't I?
With St. Thomas, winners of 21 in a row. We showed the Gopher women earlier. There's a potential that
would be cool.
Minnesota could host, and there would not be out of the realm of possibility. They put NDSU in that regional.
Could you NDSU and the Gophers, two really hot teams in the Midwest right now? That would be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
I'm pulling for the Gophers. I hope they beat Michigan State and they can host, so that opportunity is on the table. Obviously, NDSU has work to do.
The Buy's got to take care of their own business. There's no doubt about it.
There's work to do, even though they've been cruising as of right now. They look like they can't be stopped.
I would tend to think now, my opinion has changed, that I don't think they can get in if they don't win it. I think
you don't think that at-large is on the table?
I don't. I think they can only lose once to South Dakota State.
Right.
So if it's next week, then obviously they would win the automatic bid. But if you win next week and you lose the conference tournament championship game, then maybe.
You think so?
Maybe. I don't feel great.
I mean, they would have
it.
stacked up a pretty impressive resume to get to that conference championship from there.
Well, they'd have 3 total losses on the season.
Right.
If they lose.
What's their seed right now? They're
a 10.
A 10.
So that's not bubble.
Yeah, that's hard to
bubble
bounce
is like
out
14 if you're or a 13 if you're a at-large team. That's not where they're at
solve
right
it all.
now.
Just win them all, and then you don't have to worry about that.
One last email before we go. Going back to our previous discussion on venues. Totally agree with you about moving games out of the Ralph. Here's an additional reason. By the time they reach high school, with very few exceptions, the kids already played there. There's so many youth tournaments now that they play a game or two at the Ralph. Heck, my son played for Moorhead and think he played there twice in his youth career.
There's been a lot of players that I've talked to have said the same thing.
It's not for everybody. I'm sure there are people, certainly people out west that maybe never got a chance to play there. That this is a big, big deal. But I'm more for
take environment over
the atmosphere is one thing. I want to be out there and maybe that noon game next Thursday at Shields Arena that we have 500 people. That's pretty good even on a Thursday at noon.
That would get a decent amount in the lower bowl in that lower bowl of Shields Arena.
At Shields Arena it would. Yes. Yeah. I mean that's a tough time.
Championship's going to fill up just fine no matter who's in it at Shields Arena.
Even if it's Central and Red River, which very well could be next
yes.
Week from Saturday, you're still going to have a good crowd for that game.
Yeah.
You know?
There was 2 years ago when they played in there.
And heck, for the girls' championship, I remember calling one, I think it was North-South and Bismarck, and it was electric. We had more people there for the girls that left that didn't stick around for the boys' game. And it was filled. And I think it went overtime, if I remember right. It was a great environment in there. Yeah. That's what you want for a state championship, state tournament.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing.
All right, my man. I know you're busy. Thanks so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
We'll see you at the Shack tonight.
Yes.
And good luck and have a great time on the call this weekend at the Dome.
Appreciate that. It's going to be fun.
Sam Goetzinger, you'll see him on your televisions over the next 3 days, whether it's basketball or wrestling. It should be a great time. Speaking of hoops, we'll take a break. We come back. Jory Collins will join us. Get ready for the Bison women back at home tonight. 3 of their last 4 at the Shack. We'll preview their matchup with St. Thomas when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Holy cow, this show is flowing by. Final 25 minutes here on a Thursday morning. Get you more info on state wrestling coming up here before we wrap things up on this Thursday. Fun Friday show on tap as well. It is a busy time on the north side. Mentioned the Fargo Dome is packed with wrestling. The Shield Center will be rocking tonight. The North Dakota State women are back home for the first time in 3 weeks. There's 2 weeks to go in the season. 3 of the last 4 for NDSU are at home. Jory Collins joins us each and every Thursday at 10:30 as the Bison women still in first place, still have not lost in over 2.5 months as they got St. Thomas coming up tonight. Got to feel good to be back at home, right? It's been 3 weeks since you played a home game.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I hadn't even really thought about it, but it has been quite a while since we've been in the Shack. Dom, I obviously excited that we get 3 out of 4, to finish this regular season and hopefully in front of some good home crowds here with some anticipation about where we're at and how we've been going, and the men's team as well. Yeah. It's been a great winter of Bison basketball.
To have the stretch here, Jory, you went and took care of business and you handled all 3. There was no messing around with any of those 3 road games. How pleased are you with how your team played over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I don't know that I could ask for more, really, Dom. It's I think that, I was thinking about it just sitting here waiting for us to get on, and just how impressed that I've been with our players' demeanor and their mindset and their poise about how this season's gone for us, where we're at, what the opportunities are in front of us, winning a bunch of games in a row, how you handle that and other people talking about it and being able to answer the questions and then still be able to stay focused. And I've just been really, really proud of just their mentality towards, all the things we've been able to do this year.
You knew full well, we talked about it last week with Jossie heading back to Grand Forks. She took it in stride. Actually, it sounded like she had a pretty good welcoming crowd there. Describe what that was like and obviously how the team played Sunday in Grand Forks.
Yeah, I mean, we met a couple times last week, the week, before. I think, every month we have some scheduled time with certain players on our team, and her and I had breakfast Friday morning and talked about it a little bit. And she was fine. I could tell she was fine. She's like, yeah, it's going to be maybe a little bit awkward, going in there the first time. And, but once the ball was tipped up, it was great. And she's a fantastic kid, great family. So many people up there from her hometown really care about her and are a fan of Jocelyn. It doesn't matter what team she's playing for. She's just somebody that's easy to root for as a person. So there was no doubt in my mind she was going to have a ton of supporters up there as well. And if she didn't get a couple boos, then I would lose a lot of respect for their fan base. That's just part of being a college athlete, and she takes all that in stride and did a really good job.
Avery got off to another ridiculous start. When she's going like that, what does that do for the rest of your team when she scores, 8 points in the first 3 minutes of a game?
Well, I think, I think our team's confident anyways. We've just been playing well enough that they believe that good things are going to happen when we do things the right way. But when all of a sudden, she's established real early and finishing and being that dominating presence in and around the basket, I think their eyes light up just a little bit more knowing, okay, we're going to be able to get that today. And then that means some opportunities. I need to be ready for people to double and help and do those kind of things to be able to be a really good inside-out team. Which we have been here recently. We shot the ball great here the last 5 or 6 games and have needed to, when teams have really sold out to try to slow her down.
How unique is this week scheduling-wise where you're playing Thursday, Saturday, but it's one home, one on the road?
Yeah, it's different. I'd much rather be playing, this game last night, if we could. But that's just part of the schedule. And Vermilion isn't far. So we'll play our game tonight, hopefully play well, and we'll have our day of travel and preparation again and quick turnaround for Saturday. But, where we're at in the year, there's a big light at the end of the tunnel here. We've gone through the meat of it. This is where you kind of catch your second win because this is finishing time, and I know our players will be excited about it.
So they can't ignore, obviously, what's going on, Jory. How much do you address the elephant in the room? Like, okay, our goal is right in front of us. We win 2 games. We got a share of the league championship after this week.
Yeah, no, we discussed that early in the week. Hey, this is where we're at. We got 4 games to go. In the standings, we have a 2-game lead. Quite honestly, we just talked, hey, all we got to do is continue to be ourselves and do what we've been doing. There's nothing we have to do outside of ourselves or try to do something different. Consistency in approach, to me, is what separates people. We've been a very consistent team for a long stretch of this year. Not perfect by any stretch, but consistently, been ready to get after it. I don't expect anything different from our squad.
So I had a moment last night. You don't roll your eyes too much at this, but watching the highlights, Connecticut won last night over Villanova to put their win streak at 44. And the graphic came up, longest win streaks in the country. Connecticut won. North Dakota State was at 2. And I had to do a double take. Like, wow. I know you don't want to acknowledge it too much, but that's pretty cool stuff, bud.
No, it is. And, Avery's gotten some more attention nationally here recently, Dom. And, part of our responsibility being an athletic program at North Dakota State University is to get eyes on our university, on Fargo. And it's our job to go out and represent. I think anytime you can do things that catch national attention, obviously the commissioner of Mountain West was here the other day. I got to meet her briefly while I was getting coffee in the lobby there. And, I feel like it's partly our responsibility, do well enough that people get to talking about us. There's nothing wrong with that kind of exposure and attention on North Dakota, on Fargo, on North Dakota State University. All that does is continue to help. And I'm really proud of our group for being able to do that. Obviously, Avery's starting to get some people outside the middle of the country all of a sudden are perking up to what she's doing, and our team as well. So, no, I mean, that's great stuff and really fun.
In reality, though, as well, with the kind of season Avery's having, what does that do, knowing full well what potentially could happen when the season is done, to make sure she stays a Bison?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously working on that. That's not something that she and I are pretty close. Yeah. We talk pretty often. That's something neither one of us talking about at all, very much right now. And we'll talk about that when the season's over. She's been spectacular, and is one of the best players in the country. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yep. I'm glad she's a Bison, and we're going to do our best to keep her that way.
It's the reality. I've had people say that to me, as soon as the season was going, you guys were playing well, and it's reality. We have to acknowledge it, but also know full well what that people are talking about her. I mean, she's now a semifinalist for the Mid-Major Player of the Year, the Becky Hammond Award. That's a big-time deal. That's unbelievable, frankly, that she's getting this kind of recognition. And you're right, and she's had that kind of season.
She has. I mean, it's been consistent performances night in and night out. And, to be recognized as, one of the top 10, I think that was a 10-person semifinalist, pool there. And to be one of the 10 best, to me, that's a no-brainer. And, I know a couple of the other players that are having really good years as well. And, for me, obviously I'm biased, but she's right in there as good a year as anybody's had.
St. Thomas, when you played them, that was right after you beat the Jackrabbits, and that was not an easy win. There was a stretch there where they made it difficult. Describe what the challenge is tonight with this Tommy's team that's coming in.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We talked about it. We watched it here earlier this week, and probably wasn't our best. And not to make excuses, that was in kind of an emotional week, and still went out and beat a good team on the road, and we'll take those any day of the week. We got out rebounded in that game, which hasn't happened in a while. Their bigs are good. They're physical. They can score inside, and they have multiple of those players. One of the few teams in our league that does have multiple bigs that are capable, good size. And then they got some good three-point shooting and a veteran point guard, kind of a playmaker. So they got all the pieces, and obviously Ruth's a fantastic coach and been doing terrific for a really long time. So they'll have a good plan. Hopefully our home crowd and our sense of urgency here to finish the season the way we want can get us ready to go tonight.
Ruth announced that she's retiring here at the end of the year. How much does that play emotionally wise in this? They want to send her out the right way. That's just something that, I don't know, you have to be on guard for. Obviously they have a talented team, but there's some emotion behind this, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure their players feel that way. We obviously have no control over that. We got to get ourselves ready. But if I was playing for her, that's what I'd want. Yeah. I'd be laying it on the line for her and to finish as well as possible, and finishing on a high note in the regular season, then go in the tournament and see if you can make some noise. I mean, that's how I'd feel. She deserves that. She's been a pioneer in women's basketball and been at it for a long time, and made a huge impact in the game, and I'm sure on so many of her players' lives that it's been a heck of a career.
This time of year, I mean, you got through the dog days, so to speak. There's no real motivation. Obviously, with everything you have in front of you, there's no real motivation needed, right? Coaching-wise, you don't need to do any of that stuff now, right?
I haven't given a rah-rah speech, Dom, since maybe in December.
Okay.
Maybe before we played Montana State, maybe.
Okay.
Of trying to get them riled up a little bit. It's like I said, the thing that I've been impressed about our team is our approach and demeanor. Mindset has been really mature and aggressive and confident. Just all the things that you kind of hope for or want out of a group. At least for me as a coach, I feel like we've gotten to that point as a team mentally, which they don't need me. Lighting them on fire or do anything like that. We put the plan together. We tell them, hey, this is what we think is the best chance for us to play our best. And then it's up to them. They go out and make all the basketball plays. and do all those things, and obviously have done that at a high level.
Tonight's the Play for K game, so Bison will be wearing special pink jerseys tonight. Can you guarantee you wearing a pink tie? Do you have a pink sports coat? I'd love that. You got that?
I haven't gone that far yet. We'll see. I'm actually stopping at Halberstadt's here after we get off to see what we got. I mean, it's not out of the picture, but chance of a pink sport coat is probably slim.
You could rock that. You could do that. Appreciate the time. We'll see you tonight, and good luck. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Thanks, Dom.
Jory Collins joins us each and every Thursday at 10:30. Bison and St. Thomas coming up tonight. You'll see it right here on WDAY Extra. Our coverage begins at 7 o'clock as the Bison go for a 22nd consecutive win. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. We'll give you everything you need to know about state wrestling and set you up for a golden, we hope, Sports Thursday. Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. We'll wrap after this. All right, wrapping things up on this Thursday spectacular. Tomorrow, John Sullivan from the Mountain West Conference will join us. We'll recap the Bison matchup against St. Thomas. A couple other league games going on. We'll give the lowdown on that and look ahead to the weekend as well. We've got EDC hockey going on and WDA hockey going on this weekend, so we'll know the 8 teams that are coming to Shields Arena to play in the state hockey tournament, which begins a week from today. All those games will be on WDAY Extra and WDAY 2 starting next Thursday. The boys will be on Extra, the girls will be on WDAY 2 on Monday. We'll give you the full download on that once we know the teams. So that will get you ready for tomorrow. Also, a full breakdown of the gold medal game, which we'll chat about here in a second, to the United States and Canada on the women's side. The men hockey team play tomorrow against Slovakia in the final few days of the Olympics. And then they shut her down, at least for the next couple years, before L.A. takes the spotlight for the summer games of 2028. Let's get a couple emails in here before we wrap up the show. Going back to our previous conversation, Dom, of all the speculation and talk about who may stay and leave, a cautionary note could be brought up about Jory Collins. He has grown a program to prominence and could get looks by other major programs. I totally agree with that wholeheartedly. A Summer League championship would go a long ways. You get that, then I think Jory's been here. This is the end of his 7th year. That is, I think, completely well thought out email. I think you're spot on about that. That would not surprise me one bit. And if that were to happen, then you wouldn't be surprised if other players were to go. That's just the nature of the business of what we deal with here. Now, and it depends, obviously, how the final... Tell me what the next month holds for Bison women's basketball. That could change the trajectory of a lot of things. If the Bison go and win the Summit League tournament and then maybe do something magical in March, then it's going to be really hard for NDSU to keep anybody here. If they go to Sioux Falls and maybe don't win, then maybe, I don't know. You got to tell me what the next 4 weeks hold there. That's, to me, the really intriguing part about what is to come. But that's the fun part of what we are looking forward to, because it's just going to be fantastic to look forward to. So it all starts basically tonight with the Bison game with St. Thomas. With that, we got a lot to get to and what to watch. So let's do it before we get out of here. All right, what to watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Okay, don't forget, we got state wrestling is underway right now. So if you want to flip on WDAY Plus on your phone, on your iPad, tablet, whatever, you can watch every mat, everything that's going on. We have it covered on WDAY Plus all day today. They got underway at 10. The quarterfinals will get going later this afternoon, probably about noon, and then the semifinals tonight at 5. We'll be down to 2 wrestlers in all 12 weight brackets here by the time around 7 o'clock tonight for that. And then we'll give you the full details about tomorrow's coverage on Friday's show, which includes live championship mats coverage at 4:30. That's tomorrow. But everything today, if you're looking for it, it's online today. It's just streaming only. Tonight on television, though, we've got Bison women's basketball and NDSU going for win number 22 in a row against St. Thomas. Join myself, Sam, and Amy Rulli on the call, 7 o'clock on WDAY Extra. Also, we mentioned gold medal game coming up here in about an hour. The United States and Canada facing off again for the women's hockey gold medal. That's on USA today at noon. Women's figure skating is getting first rights on NBC, so the hockey game is on USA at noon. The NBA season resumes tonight. Celtics and the Warriors, that's a good one. 9 o'clock on Amazon Prime for that one between Boston and Golden State. We'll keep our eyes on that. And for you golf nerds, when you look outside and you see what the weather is right now, watching golf at Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles is not the worst thing in the world. Our guy Tom Hoagie is playing in the Genesis Invitational. He gets going about 2 o'clock this afternoon after a nice finish he had at Pebble Beach. 3 o'clock on the Golf Channel for that coming up later today. So no shortage of sporting events here going on. Mentioned the Minnesota State Hockey Tournament is underway. There's plenty of good stuff happening, and we'll have you covered coming up on the show tomorrow. We got to roll. Thanks to our guests today, to Sam Goetzinger, to Jory Collins, and, of course, to Kim Wagers for joining us to start the show after the Cobbers won the MIAC Championship. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay of our show on WDAY+. Everybody stay safe out there. Enjoy the wrestling, the hoops, hockey, whatever. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.